podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome everybody to another one of our Premier League reviews. We're going to talk West of England Premier League today, and joining me is Rob Maggs, Director of Cricket from Bath Cricket Club. How are you doing, Rob?
Very well, thank you, Ian.
And once again, we have our stats man, everything to do with Premier League around the country. Hugh, how are you doing, Hugh?
Not too bad.
Good to see you again, sir. So let's have a quick look at the West of England Premier League, where we're talking to the title winners here. Bath Cricket Club won. Got a bit down to the wire with Potter and NCCA. We'll have a look at that later on. But down the bottom, Chippenham and Taunton Dean, they sort of got left behind a little bit and been relegated from the Prem. But let's just get back to that top of the league. It really did go down to that last 2 or 3 games, didn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it did. It was a very strange sort of season that it came down to the last game, really. If you look at the stats, I think Potter lost 5 games and we lost 2. So the point system definitely, it didn't work in our favour. We have an interesting one in our league where you get a point if you can get an umpire to help with the situation, I guess, of league umpiring at the moment. So Potter managed to get that in fair play to them. They got a volunteer that was willing to do that every week. So probably gained an 18-point cushion on us before we started the league, which is probably a couple of good wins to catch up. So
that's in the Premier League they do that.
Yeah, it is. I think it's our league. It's in all leagues actually, and it's a concept that was taken, I believe, from the Oxfordshire League, maybe. And I think it's to try and get more umpires really to be available for Saturday League cricket. And I think the scheme, if you look at the whole league stats, that probably 18 out of 70 clubs only managed to get an umpire to do it.
Looking at the league table, Potter benefited with 13 points.
Yeah.
Froster, they benefited with 16 points, and Chippenham actually benefited with 14 points, but didn't stop them getting relegated.
No.
But interestingly, apart from those 3 clubs, not one other benefited from those points. So it's quite an interesting one, to say the least.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get more, I guess, former ex-players, players who don't play to take up umpiring, and I believe that now it's something that needs looking at pretty seriously, because probably if we were to be sat here in 10 years' time, seeing what the state of the game is, then how many actual umpires stroke volunteers will be left in the game. And I think we made a conscious effort as a league to change the payment system to try and make it more appealing for someone to give up 10, 11, 12 hours of their weekend, whereas in the past they would get £35 to do that. I said the day of that is probably long gone, in the fact that you'll get someone who plays for a club from first team all the way down to fourth, and then may score, may umpire, maybe a club secretary. I think cricket needs to look at new ways of trying to get umpires into the game.
Most definitely. What? Just out of interest, what's an umpire paid in the West of England now? Then
I think the top league are paid £75 a game, right. Which again is quite a good incentive. I personally I believe it should be more. I think if we're looking to people to have a career in umpiring, that they should be rewarded if they're doing good level cricket. And I believe that people who play Premier League cricket want the best umpires. And I think as clubs and as well as leagues and administration, that the umpires need more support.
Yeah.
And definitely more backing in trying to help them progress and actually make it worth them doing on a Saturday.
Just for reference, I mean, my young lad plays football as well as cricket. We're paying £30 for a young lad to ref a 1-hour youth football match.
Yeah, I did that exactly yesterday for my boys under 9s game. A young lad who was 13, he got £36 for 50 minutes. And fair play to him. I thought brilliant. He did a great job, and he's getting on the stepping stone of a ladder of officiating. And so it should be rewarded, I believe, and that's how we're going to improve that situation. But I don't believe that by paying £35 or £50 for someone to give up 12 hours of a Saturday, because you've got to be there an hour and a half before a Premier League game, and then so it's usually probably 11 o'clock, and you leave at 8 o'clock. Most umpires got an hour travel time as well, especially Premier League ones, and
because they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's got to be a worthwhile. It's a profession, so I think it should be rewarded.
Let's get back to that Premier League that you won then, Rob. Within the Premier League itself, was there any clubs caused a surprise to you? You guys obviously were expected to be at the top or near the very top. Anyway, anyone caused a bit of a surprise?
No, I think it's a really competitive league, and I think on the day anyone can beat anyone.
Okay.
I think the format of the league, 50 over straight win-lose, and still using red ball and playing in white is fusing people to still play. And I think, on the day, I don't think there's ever an easy game in the WEPL Premier. I think everyone's got match winners, and you always get pushed pretty hard. Everyone's got someone who can blow away a top order or take a game away with you with the bat. So it's a real exciting league and played hard. Yeah, I think it's a good competitive league to be involved in.
Well, it's a nice league for us to talk about, Hugh, because it's actually got the same point system, give or take, as our own league, hasn't it? We're win, lose, and we talk about these leagues week in, week out, Rob, and they're just so different all over the place. So it's good to talk on a level that we get straight away. Let's talk about those guys who make that difference, Hugh, the batters. Who are the top batters in the West of England Premier League?
Yeah, we've got Brad Porteous at Bath. So Brad's your overseas. That's correct, is it?
He's had 2 phenomenal years. And again, we picked him up by chance. His mum and dad are on ancestral visas and actually live the next village on from Bath.
Right.
And just came down one day and said, "Oh, my boy has walked around. Would love to come and join in."
Did you stick him in the 4th team net to start with?
It was actually it was the year of the COVID season that I first came across him. He was playing for his team that are in the division below, Keynsham, and he managed to get over for the summer. I think he arrived just before COVID and ended up playing half the season at Keynsham. And in the game he played again, we didn't actually see him bat. We had just seen him bowl, and I thought, that's good enough for us. That's what we're looking for. And we're very fortunate in that we can ask for a better professional. He gets stuck in with training. He's around the club. He's a modern pro. He trains every day.
Nice.
He's in the gym. He'll do anything for anyone, and part of our furniture, really. And we're very lucky to have him. We've been blessed with some good pros in the last few years. And the fact that before him we had Greg Hay, a New Zealander. Couldn't speak highly enough of Brad. And hopefully he goes on to make the next step. He's just been playing a little bit more regularly for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And so hopefully he'll get that next step that his effort and commitment deserves.
Well, he's 699 runs at 58 in the league, and 14 wickets to go with that. Second, Jack Scrivens as well, also Bath, 689 runs at 49. Ollie Meadows, Bedminster, 591s at 42, third, and James Regan, Taunton. St Andrews, 575 at 44. Fifth, Charlie Sharland at Bridgewater, 569 runs at 37. So the 2 Bath lads top by a fair margin in terms of averages and over 100 runs clear of everyone else.
I think Jack had a real good breakthrough year in the fact that he decided he'd go over to Australia for the winter, and he wintered in Adelaide with Northern District and actually played a winter of first grade cricket. And he came back pretty much not a different player, but a more confident player. Mm-hmm. And he turned that confidence into obviously getting the opportunity to open up week in, week out. And he took it with both hands. And he played some unbelievable knocks. He got like, I think a 32 ball or 36 ball 100 in our T20 competition. And he was really good. But again, he's someone who's came up from our youth section all the way up through. And
fantastic.
So he's his opportunity went really well this year.
I think what I found interesting looking at the stats in the Premier League there is that not just Bradley and Jack at the top. You got Jason Marshall down in 7th place. 3 out of the top 10 batters in the league from your place, Rob, and only 1 from Potern. Now that's got to make a big difference, hasn't it, when it comes to where you're going to score those runs and where you get the wins? Yeah,
massively. I think the season before, Potern had 3 or 4 guys that were really in the runs, and I think if you look at, they did struggle with the bat. They were awesome with the ball, a real awesome bowling lineup. But if you look at consistency with their batting lineup, it changed most weeks. No one really had I think it was Jake Goodwin had a phenomenal year the year before, but he struggled a little bit with the batting. And I think if you look, most weeks they had different positions, and they struggled to get any rhythm with their batting. But they were still like a real tough unit to beat. They really enjoyed playing. The lads really enjoyed playing them. They play hard cricket, good bunch of guys off the field, but they play hard on the field and they push us hard. But yeah, they've got a special bowling lineup, and if their bat clicks next year, then they'll be up there again, challenging for sure.
Definitely. Let's talk about those bowlers, Hugh. Yeah, there's some good numbers there.
Yeah, Tahir Afridi, a fairly familiar name. 45 wickets at 12. Chris Aubrey, 40 wickets at 14. And then James Arney is 9 wickets back, 31 wickets for Bath at 22. So, those top two, Potton really showing a long way clear of everybody else.
When you've got the top two bowlers in the league taking 85 wickets at an average of around about 13 and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't just come hard at you with seam. They've got some really talented spinners as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think on paper, I think they were a little bit unlucky. One of their main players, Basil Akram, genuine top all-rounder. He struggled. I think he had a back issue and wasn't able to bowl as much. Yeah, if they had him firing as well, like all season, they would have definitely pushed. Well, they did push us hard, to be fair. It came down to the last game, and it was probably because of their bowling that they did that.
You got a famous name there in Jake Lintott. Not sneaking too many games in. That's something they need to get a few more games out of him next year. 9 performances where he bowled.
That's the challenge for a lot of clubs. What do you do with professional players? Like I find it quite bizarre in professional sport. You can have, and we have one who's been at our club since he was 10 now, Ben Wells, he doesn't get picked for his side Gloucestershire, but then he's allowed to go and play club cricket on a Saturday. And I think the same for any pro. It's like, I struggle to work out if we were saying like Wayne Rooney, if he was injured, if he wasn't playing for Man United, he wouldn't be allowed to go and play cricket, football for like a non-league football side.
It's my favourite story, isn't it, Hugh? I go on about it that you have a professional player in cricket who could play a T20 on a Friday night, and then they don't think twice about it turning out for the club side the next day.
Yeah, I don't think it does it? I think it's unbelievable that a county, especially with bowlers, that allow bowlers to do exactly that and play on a Friday night, and then they'll travel 50, 60 miles for a club game for X amount of money.
Well, particularly with the guidance around young players, where they won't let a young player bowl more than, 5 overs or 7 overs in total and all this kind of stuff. And then, but they'll flog a 18-year-old pro into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And then they moan that their staff are injured in the standard of second team cricket goes downhill. Well, it's going to go downhill, isn't it? If you've got a guy who's played all week, whether it's first or second team cricket, then you're asking him to play Saturday and Sunday club cricket and then turn up again on a Monday and do exactly the same.
It's quite a strange one though, isn't it, in cricket, where we talk to other people about the scheduling of the professional game is just so random these days. The fact that there's so little Saturday cricket in the professional game that it gives the counties the opportunity to say, go on lads, go and have a game elsewhere. And it just doesn't feel right for some reason.
I think it may devalue the county game in the fact that maybe the funding's not there for the second 11 competition to be dominant or as good as it was maybe 30 years ago. I think you look back 30 years ago or 25 years ago and it was a proper, like you get proper professionals playing second team cricket. Now you've just got academy lads, school boys, in some instances just like get someone to turn up for a game because they haven't got the staff. But then on the flip side, that counties are, like we say, happy enough to ship those out to play club cricket. I don't understand that anyone paying anyone's wages are then happy for them to go and play elsewhere with the risk of injury. And then you're not seeing them the rest of the summer because, they broke a finger or tore a hamstring playing club cricket on a Saturday when, you should be in the midst of playing a T20 competition.
And to use Rob's example, Wayne Rooney's not quite right to play for whoever it was back in the day, whether it was Everton or Man United. Tell you what, go play for the Lobster the next day in the Liverpool Sunday League, but you're going to be in goal. It's literally exactly the same as doing that, isn't it?
Yeah,
it was quite handy in goal.
And also, I think with pros, it just upsets the ethos of your club cricket, what it's about, because you don't usually know until late on a Friday night if that professional's even allowed to play. Like a few years ago, I had three, both George Hankins, his brother Harry, and Tim Rouse, all boys that played club cricket at Bath since they were 10. At times, we didn't know until a Friday night whether A, they were allowed to play, B, if they wanted to play. I didn't ever put them under pressure to play. But then you've got to be manoeuvring three players in four sides to accommodate them.
It has a knock-on effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, to play, and then you've got some guys in the lower tiers. Oh, sorry, we don't need you to play now. Well, I've just given up my Saturday to say I can't play, and now you're telling me you don't want me to play. So I think it's a little bit of that as well. And so we've only got one pro now, and again, he's a guy who's been with us since he was 10, and it's much easier to accommodate those when everyone knows they've grown up playing club cricket. But for those who come into a club from a pro club just to get cash, I'm not sure if that's the answer or not.
Hey, let's get back to the stats in the Premier League, Hugh, and let's have a look at the all-rounders. Who are the guys who made the biggest impact in the West of England?
Tahir Afridi, 199 runs at 18, but it's obviously the wickets dominating there, 45 wickets. Chris Aubrey, similar, 192 runs, so chipping in with the runs and 40 wickets. And then Brad Porteous as well, runs and wickets, 699 runs, as we said, but also 14 wickets at 26. So, still an exceptional all-round performance from him. Louis Shaw at Bristol, 15 matches, 317 runs at 35 and 28 wickets at 15.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a very talented boy, Louis Shaw. Yeah, very, very talented. Probably unlucky in the fact that not to go on to play higher cricket, really. Really good spin bowler, and excellent fielder as well. In Bristol have come up from last year, and they competed really well. If you look at the number of games they lost, they lost just a similar amount to us, if not one more. And
that's right.
They were pushing well throughout the whole of the season. But they've got very talented boys as well, and Louis being one of them.
Yeah, they've done well jumping up, haven't they, Bristol? They won the West of England Prem 2 Bristol Somerset division last year by a very, very long way. And then jumped straight into third this year, which is, is a terrific achievement. Just on the two leagues feeding into one. So you've got the West of England Prem, Bristol Somerset, and then the Gloucestershire Wiltshire side. What happens if two from the same region are in the relegation places?
Oh, yeah. So unfortunately, you get to know halfway what it's looking like, and you get informed by the league, and then 3 or 4 games to go. This is the scenario which you could end up with 3 teams actually going down from one side of the league if you get exactly situation.
Right. So sometimes it's 3 teams and not 2.
Yeah, it depends on, like you say, if it's 2 from the same area. So if it's 2 like Somerset clubs or 2 Wiltshire, then that has a knock-on effect down.
Okay,
it's complicated, isn't it?
It is very.
So whilst they've got a nice, simple win-lose, dead simple point system, they haven't got it quite as easy when it comes down to that bottom.
No, not if you have the exact scenario you said. But I think we all hope that doesn't happen too often.
It's something that fascinates you and I week in, week out, Rob, in terms of points and the way leagues are run around the country. You've been around Bath Cricket Club for a while now, and obviously around the West of England area in terms of cricket. Do you find that it's almost sort of that it's so different to the West of England, to Essex, to the Liverpool?
Yeah, I think if you look at the West of England, I think we're probably the only ECB Premier League that continues with the red ball throughout the whole season.
Derbyshire as well,
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And do the Derbyshire League, do they play any draw cricket, or just is it
win-lose on a
Saturday? So it's the same as us. So because I know like the Welsh League, they may use an orange ball at times, and I'm not sure.
I don't think I've ever seen an orange ball.
I think they play.
I've got 2 in my bag. Yeah,
I think they play some red ball, like win-lose draw, and then they play some limited overs in colour clothings. But I think it's I don't know if it's still. Don't quote me that it's still an orange ball, but lots of different formats from each league. And I think what would help from the ECB is some guidance. What do they want top level cricket to look like? Club cricket, formalise it over the whole of England, and then you get some continuity, and some actually league cricket probably means something to or aspiring to be professionals. I think the most, like with league cricket, you know what it's like, end up playing the same teams year in, year out. And I think the excitement for the lads at Bath Cricket Club is the national competitions we enter as well.
You did all right in them this year.
We got to the regional final stage, which was okay. I think the challenge the year before, we were fortunate enough to win the 40 over competition. And a great experience. You're traveling the country to other Premier League opposition, and you don't play in the buzz of a cup game on a Sunday. 40 overs is a real highlight for us. And obviously the T20 national competition is also a highlight for obviously Hornchurch won it last year with George, and big point of that's the competition you need to win. You can have a nice week in La Manga and stuff. So I think it's just, but it's hard to continue playing Saturday, Sunday, and again,
it's a lot of games, isn't it?
Time, and you've got to have a lot of luck to do well in those national competitions. I think you've got to have people fit at the right times and everything else, but they're proper good competitions.
Definitely. I think this year Wimbledon won it, and I think when they won the T20 just down the road from me at Derby. When you talk to the lads there, the amount of games, I think they won 15 games, or to get to that point, or played 15 games. Because you've got your local group stages, which then becomes the regional. And it's a real test to get through them, isn't it?
Well, we actually went out on a bowl out on a hockey Astro in the regional final of the national T20. We got to finals day and it got rained off twice, and the third time it was us, Foster and Bristol, and it was raining so hard that we had no choice but to just people just bowling on a hockey Astro. and that's the disappointing thing, because you give up so many Sundays in those competitions, and to go out that way when you've given up so much time is a bit frustrating.
No, I'm going to get on my high horse here and put a message out on the back of what you just said. It just shows again how different things can be. Milford Hall, who won the National Village Cup, their semi-final got rained off, and they played, I don't know, 10, 12 overs, got rained off. They then had to replay it the following week as an away game, but at least they were allowed to replay it. It wasn't one date and that's it. So again, it's not level playing field.
No, it's a frustration for all teams that those competitions. I think, like you were saying, the teams have to play X amount of games. I think they need to have a look at how those competitions are run as well. I think if you enter a national ECB competition, it should be just a Premier League competition, not so we have it in the West of England where any team from any tier of the WEPL can enter it.
Right.
But so the first few rounds so we got drawn against Potter in the first round. So probably the two top teams in WEPL get drawn each other in the first round. And I just think that it could be seeded, or it could be a Premier League competition. And then teams who want a local T20 cup, like from the divisions below, they could have like a league cup. But I think if you're entering a Premier League competition, you want your league to hopefully get a good representation from a Premier League side, but it just gives you a Premier League club a bit more of a chance, and you're not playing every Sunday, and that's how you get injured. And we find it. We've got the national semi-finals a few times in the 40 over competition and just ran out of steam because people were injured and just battered bodies. And the season we did win it, we hit the curve right at the top, and all our bowlers on fire and fit, and it just makes such a difference.
It does, and I think we saw that when San Diego played Wimbledon in the final of Derby. Wimbledon had a couple of weeks off because their season had ended the 2nd of September. San Diego had to go all the way through. And again, it just makes that little bit of a difference because it's not equitable around the country. Massively. And it's it is interesting. We came up against Brentwood in the semi-final when we won the national, and I think their overseas went home the day before. Chris Green, you obviously makes a massive difference to them. That's the luck. I think the luck you need a little bit. Hey, listen, let's talk just before we bring it to a close. Let's talk about the emerging talent in your league and your club. You've got a good view around what's going on in the West of England Premier League there, Rob. Who stood out for you as a key player, the youngsters in particular, who you keep an eye out next year?
There's one lad at Bath, Joe Hayward, who's took some opportunity in our first team this year. He did really well with the ball. There's a young lad, I think it's from Potter and a Butter, Josh Kelly, I think his name is.
Yep.
He looked as though he could be a real decent up and coming batter.
400 runs at 31.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, he looks as though he gets an opportunity and does well. And I think that, like, real young talent, I'm not sure that there was anyone. Obviously, Taunton St Andrews have got the Thomas boys. So if you say one to really look out for would be, George Thomas has just got a full-time contract with Somerset, but his brother, Josh Thomas, he's a very talented player. So I would think about wherever he plays his club cricket, he'll be the one to watch.
Josh Thomas is just coming on the scene. There's 96 runs at 16 in the league. George Thomas, 308 runs at 30.
I think George, like in particular, I don't think his stats would necessarily say he's one to watch, but believe me, he's a real talented player and he'll be one to watch for in the future. He'd definitely be one like that. He may bypass league cricket altogether.
And again, by having them so young joining the staff at somewhere like Somerset, they're not going to get games week in, week out. So they are going to get thrown back into the
Premier. Exactly. And again, that's the challenge then for those guys who are they're trying to become professional cricketers. So they're trying all week, or they've just got their first contract. They play all week for the twos. Do they or should they be playing club cricket? That's a $1 million question. And you go and play on a club wicket that's not as good as a first class wicket, and so you're struggling a bit on any rhythm and stuff. So I'm not devaluing the club game by any means, but I think for professionals it's just it's
a different game altogether, literally, isn't it? I always use the analogy of what I saw Hornchurch went over to play T10 cricket at Cartama. They went over there as national champions and came back, did well by coming runners up, but came back going, oh my word, that is a different game altogether. And it's the same with professional cricket to club cricket. You can't compare. Can you?
Well, it's Scott Oliver's Sticky Dogs and Stardust book, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Don't know if you've seen that, about when the legends played in the leagues. I think one of the ones that jumps out at me was when Steve Waugh played. I think he was in the Lancashire League and he was averaging 40 in the Lancashire League, and he went down to, it might have been Glamorgan, played a second team game against the West Indies and hit a 2-day game or 3-day game or something, and hit 250 runs against the West Indies. It's dealing with different wickets. It's certainly a challenge.
Been great chatting, Rob, and getting to know a bit more about the West of England Premier League. It's not a league that me and Hugh know that well, apart from we see the stats week in, week out. But it'd be great to keep in touch with you and the boys down at Bath.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely to talk to you.
All the best, Rob. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.